Alrighty, guys. So we went over the NFC South and the NFC North. Now today we're going over the NFC West, the probably arguably the most competitive division in all of football. So let's get right into it. I really don't have much to say after that. That's the introduction, pretty much. So let's look at the Seahawks. Uh, you guys have heard me say it before, and I'll say it again. I don't. Their roster is one of the worst in football. It just so happens that Russell Wilson is on the team, and he's been able to carry this team for uh, a very long time, pretty much ever since he's been in the league. You could say that the Legion of Boom could probably carried him though a few years, but that's not the point. The point is, it's not a very well built roster around him, and part of that's because Russell Wilson eats up a lot of their money, so they can't really spend the money on the rest of the roster. They can't get good guys that they draft into their second contract. So um, it's really hard to see a lot of these guys go, like Frank Clark and um, some other guys. I can't really think of any right now. Shaquille Griffin. Um, it's really hard to see those guys go away. Now they do have Jamal Adams there. They have Bobby Wagner there. Uh, but that D line is they've tried to draft D line a bunch of times, and I do have faith in Jordan Brooks too. So they've got some good tacklers in there, obviously, with Bobby Wagner, Jamal Adams, and Jordan Brooks. But the secondary is kind of a mess right now, and they don't. They're trying to get guys on D line again, but um, they drafted LJ Collier, but still the D line just doesn't look good right now. I mean, there's nothing more I can say. I mean, don't get me started with the offensive line. They do have some good receivers, though. It's just that at all the important positions, they have ginormous holes. The offensive line, um, the secondary, and the defensive line. They're not going to be able to win the line of scrimmage ever in any game. So unless they're facing a really terrible team like the Jaguars, or not even against the Jets, they'll win the offensive line, in my opinion. So, the line of scrimmage, excuse me, because I believe that the Jets do have a better offensive line and defensive line than the Seahawks. Defensive line, so not like front seven, but defensive line. So yeah, the Seahawks are kind of in a hole right now. And the whole Russell Wilson thing is interesting to me because it really sounds like that they kind of want to get off his contract. Part of me says, oh, they really want to keep him, but they also don't want that contract on their books. And I think they're kind of favoring towards getting rid of the contract. And I don't think he'll become a Seahawk. I don't think he'll be a Seahawk after this contract is done, because he's going to want that money again, and he'll have to go somewhere else. Of course, the Bears tried trading for him. They said no, but it took them a while to say no, because the Bears have been they were trying to do it for about a month or two to bring him in after they heard that, if he were to be traded, that the Bears would be the one of the recommended teams he would like to be traded to. Russell Wilson, that is. So it's an interesting state of the team. I'm not going to count it out because they do have DK Metcalf, they do have Tyler Lockett, they do have a guy like David Moore, and they drafted Dwayne Eskridge and all those type of guys. Like, they're going to have weapons there, and they're going to have Chris Carson there. They re-signed him too, although I got to see how big of a contract that was. I didn't really check, but I don't know why you'd re-sign a running back when you drafted Rashad Penny a few years ago. That's interesting too, in the first round, excuse me. So kind of poor management decisions. And I thought a few years ago that this was one of the best front offices of the NFL, and it's kind of become one of the worst. Now, I get that, teams don't value the draft that much, and, they only had like 3 picks. But yeah, I'm not too sure about that. But hey, I really, to start out, I think they're going to be last in the division, which isn't bad in the NFC West. It is not bad, in my opinion. So, um, for them to be last is not a insult by any means. For me to say that they're last, but they are last. Now let's get into the Cardinals. And the Cardinals, they're gonna be competing. They have Kyler Murray. They're 1 year better. That's the thing too, and they've gotten better on the offensive line. I liked how they went out and grabbed Rodney Hudson, and it was only they only gave up like a seventh, I believe. Excuse me. Let me take a breath. I've been on a roll. Really got to get used to this microphone, and because I just got it. But they just got Rodney Hudson, as I said earlier. I believe they drafted a good offensive lineman in the draft. I believe here. Let me see. Cardinals draft. I really didn't look at the Cardinals. Kind of went under the radar. They drafted Rondale Moore, so they got DeAndre Hopkins there. They got weapons there, man. Andy Isabella, Christian Kirk, and I said Rondale Moore earlier to complement DeAndre Hopkins, of course, Kyler Murray throwing to all of them, and of course, that offense is improving, and it was already a pretty good offense, and hopefully Cliff Kingsbury can kind of redeem himself. He kind of did a poor coaching job towards the end of the year. Definitely wasn't a fan of his coaching, but I still kind of believe in him because, I mean, he knows what he's doing with Kyler Murray. He knows what he's doing. Hopefully. But yeah, I mean, the defensive side of the ball, I really like the front seven that they have there, with Budda Baker and Isaiah Simmons and Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt. They've got some studs there, man. That's a really good defense. Of course, Patrick Peterson left, but you still got Byron Murphy there. You've still got and they also drafted Zayvon Collins. I forgot about that. So they could definitely use a corner, though. I will say that Byron Murphy's probably their big guy there, but he's going to be playing in the slot, I'm guessing. So, but yeah, I love that front seven, no doubt. So if they get the corner position kind of solved and they add a few more pieces on the offensive line, I believe that they could be a perennial Super Bowl conversation team for the next 2-3 years. So, but they're going to be third in the NFC West, in my opinion, which again, pretty good for the division that they're in. And they could definitely make the playoffs. But the next two teams, man, they're unbelievable. So we'll go to San Francisco because I believe that they're going to be second in the division, behind the Rams. And why is that the Rams are first and the Niners are second? It's pretty much just the quarterback, and they lost their defensive coordinator. And I'm not saying that Trey Lance is bad. He just hasn't proven anything yet, and Matt Stafford has. And of course, again, Robert Saleh left the Niners, but they get Trey Lance in there, and they still have Jimmy Garoppolo. So it's not like they don't have a guy that can come in and win right now, because they do. They have a guy that can come in, and win some football games as he has before for the Niners. So, the Niners, I would say that they could probably use another receiver, but it's not like the receiving core is anything bad to right home. But I mean, Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, both two very good receivers in my opinion, and I believe Brandon Ayuk could take that next step this year. Uh, and hopefully Deebo Samuel stays healthy. Um, but both very good receivers. And I like their offensive line with Trent Williams and Mike McGlinchey at the tackle positions. Um, and they do have a really good running game, of course, with Raheem Mostert and now Trey Sermon coming in. It's a very unique and fluid offense, and Kyle Shanahan's excuse me, Kyle Shanahan's going to be calling plays, so I don't think your offense can go wrong when Kyle Shanahan is calling plays, unless you get injured. Your top players get injured, like the Niners did last year, which put them in a position to get a top 3 pick. And I believe Trey Lance, once he comes in, I think he's gonna set the league on fire. Once Kyle Shanahan decides, you know what, this guy, we can win with this guy, and he's gonna set the league on fire, in my opinion. So there you go. He's a playmaker. He's a playmaker for sure. Now when we go to the defensive side of the ball, I mean, this is where the Niners hang their hats on, in my opinion. The defense hasn't changed much. Ever since they won the NFC Championship. So when you look at their D line, I mean, obviously DeForest Buckner isn't there anymore, but they do have his replacement in Javon Kinlaw, Nick Bosa on one side, D Ford on the other. Let's hope D Ford and Nick Bosa can stay healthy. However, Arik Armstead as well. At linebacker, Dre Greenlaw, guys like Fred Warner as well. Just both really good tacklers. You like to see the corner position be a little better, and hopefully, Richard Sherman re-signs with them. It's starting to sound like. I like everything. I mean, that D line is just too good, man. That defense. We'll see if they take a step down because Robert Saleh isn't there, but I still expect that defense to produce. Like, this is just an all-around good roster that could be a Super Bowl team, man. Even with Jimmy Garoppolo, I think this is a Super Bowl team. These teams just need to get healthy. They couldn't stay healthy, and that's what kind of ruined them, I guess you could say. Now we go to the Rams, who I believe is the most well-rounded team in all of football. Yeah, I said it. I mean, offensive line, pretty good. Now, last year or a couple seasons ago, that wasn't really the case. And now this offensive line all of a sudden was good. Maybe it comes back down to earth the next season. We'll see, I guess. But it was pretty okay. The offensive line was. The weapons, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Deshaun Jackson. They got some Tutu Atwell, excuse me. Tutu Atwell. I believe it was an overdraft in the second round to get him in the second round, but they got him. And I mean, that running backs, you love guys like why can't I think of his name? The running back out of Florida State, Cam Akers. I love that guy. The run game is going to be good. Malcolm Brown too is there as well, I believe. Is he? I might have made a mistake. I can't remember everything, guys. Who do you think I am? Who do you think I am? No, Malcolm Brown went to the Dolphins. I knew in the back of my head that he probably left, but Cam Akers is a stud. That's all they need. Yeah. The Rams, of course, I didn't even mention Matthew Stafford, but Matthew Stafford's going to be distributing that ball. And they also have that tight end. They also have that tight end, Tyler Higbee. So, yeah, they've got some guys there and Matthew Stafford's going to have no problems, and that offense is going to be good with McVay there coaching. Yeah, and the defaults. I can't talk today. Brandon Staley isn't there anymore, but that defense is still there. That defense is still there. I'll say that. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, John Johnson isn't there though. Forgot about John Johnson. Leonard Floyd's still there, but maybe that's because Brandon Staley was there. I don't think that defense is going to fall off that bad. I think it's a well-rounded defense. Now the expectations might be a little high. I'm rethinking this. I still think that they're the best in the division, but now I'm rethinking this, going over it. Like, maybe they did lose some pieces on defense, and Robert Woods is getting older, and Cooper Kupp is he's kind of declined ever since that big year. I guess we'll see. No, this Rams team on paper is really good, so I don't see much of a decline at all. Jared Goff held them back. Matthew Stafford is going to be the reason why they win games. So, quarterback position improved. Defense maybe a little bit on the declining side of things, but still very good. Maybe the offensive line declines a bit. I think the weapons got better. I think Cam Akers will get better. So, yeah, that's all I have for the NFC West. I hope you guys enjoyed this little unedited video. So, yeah, see you guys next time. Peace.